Welcome everyone to everydayman.net, the everyday conversation for the everyday man. I'm your host Cordero Hicks. I'm here back with another movie review, a Netflix original Come Sunday. Now this movie I haven't heard much about. I was listening to a podcast, shout out to Black on Black Cinema, J Mike and Terrence. I was actually listening to their podcast and they were reviewing Come Sunday. Now I haven't heard of this movie up until then, so I went to go watch it. And it was an interesting movie, and I wanted to give my thoughts on it. Is starring Lakeith Stanfield, Jason Segel, Condola Rashad, Martin Sheen, and also I won't mess his name up, Chiwetel Ejiofor, and the actual movie is pretty much a true story based on the life of Carlton Pearson. Now, if you out there, you know who Carlton Pearson is, which I didn't. I had to go back and do a little research. Maybe if you're real religious or you're really into the church like that, maybe you heard of him. He was a preacher in Tulsa, Oklahoma, who actually one night he had a voice from God, so he says, and his view on heaven and hell changed. And as he started preaching this new message, his life started to change. So this movie Come Sunday is pretty much, his story, and it's a decent movie. I would advise you guys to actually go check it out. Well, I'll probably give it a 4 out of 5. It's a really good movie. I know Netflix, I'm sorry, for me recently been kind of like hit and miss, and they finally got one that I'd enjoy. I really enjoyed this movie, man. I really did. So you guys should go check it out. And I'm not even a religious person. I think you should go check it out, because even if you are, just going this type of movie with an open mind, and just try to see where people are coming from. I know it's hard, especially because it deals with religion and it's such a touchy subject. Nobody really want to talk about it. But I think you guys should go check it out. But we'll watch the trailer and I'll be back with my review.
Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Little one, to him belong. They are weak, but he is strong.
You were called, Carlton. I still believe that.
The world needs to get saved. Lift them up and say hallelujah. Say, I'm a soldier.
My comfort and my joy is knowing that you're here to lead the way.
Half the people I grew up with, going in the wrong direction. Do you believe God's spoke tonight?
What does it matter what anyone thinks?
Matters to me.
No more pain and no more shame and misery.
People have been saying that I stopped believing in hell.
I heard a voice say,
Everyone's already saved.
No, you can't just rewrite the Bible.
I'm not rewriting anything, I'm just rereading it.
You speak the word of God in this church.
That God loves us all.
Why didn't you call me? You owe me that much. Harrison, son, you need to consider everything you're putting at risk, and not just for yourself.
you don't need to be saved.
You don't know that. You can't know that.
You want proof it wasn't God's voice you heard? Half our congregation walking out. That was it.
Either you're with me or you're not.
You come here telling us we all wrong and you all right. It's false doctrine you're preaching.
Are you certain it was God's voice you heard?
I've never been more sure of anything in my life. And I'm not backing down.
All right, that was trailer for come Sunday. Now, like I said, I give this movie a 4 out of 5. It's a really good movie. I actually didn't know anything about Mr. Pierce. I had to go back and watch some interviews and some old clips of him. Now, his backstory is, he grew up poor. He had this this gift, to preach, and he wanted to save people from hell. Now, he saw his grandparents, like he's 4th-generation preacher, so his grandparents used to preach, and he saw them as growing up as a child, starting to backslide and starting to do all these things that preachers are not supposed to do. And when they died, from what he knew, they went to hell. So he was on this journey to save as many people as he could from going to hell. And that's what he did, starting at 14 years old. And the movie, it's a really good movie. The movie, he challenges your beliefs. He challenges, what you believe, what you've been taught. And you hear from the trailer that some of the scene where he started to preach what he believed, because he heard a voice in his head. He watching in the movie. He's watching TV with his family, his daughter, and he sees on TV about these Africans, how they have to walk and get water, and they feel like they look lifeless and look like they don't have any hope. And he knows that these people are not religious, and in his mind, he's like, if these people die right now, are they going to hell? And he starts an internal conflict with them. And for us, for somebody who's on that type of mission, we wouldn't feel how he felt about it. We would feel, like you feel bad for, the countries that's poor, don't have much of food as us here in the States. And, you feel bad, you may donate money, but he wasn't worried. He's worried about their soul, worried about them losing their soul, worried about them going to hell. He was worried about, the children, especially the children and the mothers who has no access to what we have access to. Maybe they don't know God. Maybe they don't know what he can do for them. So he wants to save the world. So you heard his voice saying that he can't save the world, that everybody's already saved because Jesus died. And so when he goes to preach to his sermon, now keep in mind, this guy had built up a church of like 6,000 people throughout the years. Every service he would have 5,000-6,000 plus people who visit his church, and it shows you how dedicated, how devoted people are to you when you change the narrative, when you change even a little bit, when you change what they believe in. A lot of people believe in something, they don't stick with it, they're not open-minded. It lets you know, this movie really lets you know how people will quickly turn their back on you when you don't change the full message. Even if you adjust a little bit, if you go off script a little bit, people will change their back, change their mind, change their back on you. You can see from the trailer that one of his members in the congregation stood up and said, we preach from the Bible in here, but he had scriptures to back up what he was saying. And so he was labeled a heretic. And all it is really is somebody who has different beliefs from like the main organization or something like that, or somebody who has different beliefs of what you believe, really, pretty much what it is. So he was labeled that, and he lost everything, lost his church, he lost his members walked out on him, and till this day, like, he still have it. I don't think he's grown back to that status, because he had a mega church. So he had a really big church, really following. He had black and white people. So it is. So he pulled things off in the 90s that a lot of black preachers still can't do today. He was ahead of his time, pretty much. He was able to do that in mid 90s, So, but yeah, you labeled a heretic, and you know, he comes to the realization that everybody's not going to be on his side. Everybody's not going to, sometimes when you believe something, a lot of people who not going to believe what you believe, you just have to move on and do your own thing. So that's what he did. He as the moment he is preaching at I don't know the name of his church off the top of my head, but he has his own church. I know he does online. He's online somewhere. You can find him. I just thought it was an interesting story. The fact that a man and the thing, kids, you know what's funny though? I would read the comments of the videos I was watching, like on YouTube and things like that about him, and all the interviews I was watching. How people was battling in the comment section because religion does that to people. It's such a touchy subject, and it always amazed me how the people that they say they're the most saved, always the ones that cause the most drama. They cussing each other out in the same sentence, talking about Bible and talking about God and talking about how all these things, how you should love one another, but yet you're calling this man an asshole or a son of a bitch and all kind of stuff in the comment section, going back and forth because there's somebody else has a difference of opinion or religion. And he also was saying that the reason that the people in Africa that he thought they was going to hell is because they were not Christian. They probably was Muslim. So that means all other religions besides Christianity is going to hell. That's what Christians love. Most Christians believe. So I think right now, Bishop Carlton Pearson, he believed in, I think, is Christianity universalism. Now, what that is pretty much he believes that if you get sent to hell, if there is one, and if you get sent to it, you don't stay forever. What it is that you go to be rehabilitated, and then you'll go to heaven. Because in his mind and what he's read and studied all his life, that it doesn't make sense for somebody to go there and burn forever. To go there and be on this earth 20 years. Let's say you be on earth 20, it's 20 years in equivalent change for an eternity. I think that's more of what he was having the issue with. And a lot of people have an issue with. We on this earth average of 60 years, and I got to trade 60 years for an eternity. How fair is that? But it's a good movie. I think I should watch it. All the actors is really good. And shout out to Lakeith Stanfield. He actually plays a gay character in the movie. And the way he picks his roles is interesting. But he is really good, up and coming. I can't wait to see what this guy does in the future. He's from Atlanta, from Get Out. He's in a lot of things, but he played a gay character and he thinks he's going to hell too, because that's what the Bible says. He can't help himself. Like, for people who really believe that they are born gay, how can you hold these people accountable for something that they feel in their heart that they can't help? And it's funny, like, I don't know how it is to feel that way, so I can't pass judgment or tell them they're wrong, So we have to deal with that in the movie too. So, but it's a good movie. Like I said, I give it a 4 out of 5. I'm probably tell everybody I know about it. It's come Sunday. It's on Netflix. If you have Netflix, if you don't have Netflix, get somebody with a Netflix account. But it's a damn good movie. I really advise everybody to go watch it. But if you guys like this review, you can email me at everydaymanpod@gmail.com, where you can find, or go to our website, theeverydayman.net. That's where you can find all of our content and our reviews like this one. Also, I'm going to put this review up on YouTube. And so make sure you check every podcatcher at The Everyday Man. With that being said, I'm out. Peace.